My name is Beppy Stoffels. I'm the Western Markets International Market Manager for Tourism Western Australia, based at head office in Perth. If someone would be kind enough to assist, please, on the right-hand side of your screen is a little panel with a box called Questions. Can someone please type me a message so we can check that you can hear us? Check. Hello. Continue. Okay. Great. Thanks, everyone. Now I know you can all hear us. And just to let you know that also we can't hear you. The attendees online are all muted. Yes, this webinar is being recorded, and we'll be giving you details how to access that later on. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We've got a lot of information to get through today. Just to give you a quick overview, we have 3 presentations who will each speak for about 20 to 25 minutes, followed by question time of about 5 to 10 minutes each, a total of 30 minutes per presentation. Please feel free to type your questions for the end of the session in the panel on the right of your screen, and we will do our best to answer these when each presenter is finished. If for any reason we do go over time, we'll answer your questions offline. Today is the second webinar in this series. If you haven't received an invitation to the webinar series, as in somebody else has told you about this, please contact Lisa Rodriguez at westernaustralia.com. I'm very excited to present to you today. We've got Tony O'Donnell presenting on the domestic market, starting in just a few seconds. We've got Andreas Andy in the German market, and we've got at 4:30 p.m. we've got Sandra Leach and Christy Lord presenting on the UK market. I'm going to hand over now to Tony O'Donnell, who will start her presentation on the domestic market.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for participating in the webinar series. It's great to have you along this afternoon. So I'm Tony O'Donnell, Director of Domestic Marketing, and I just want to also introduce you to my colleague Brooke Gregory, who is the Manager of Domestic Marketing. And Brooke and myself make up the domestic marketing team here at Tourism WA. This afternoon we're going to cover, as part of the presentation, some visitation data, a brief update on some of the trends and challenges that we face in the market, and our key initiatives. There will be time at the end for some questions. So first of all, to just cover off some of the visitation data. Intrastate is Western Australia's biggest market, with 5.6 million overnight visitors and 14.9 million day trip visitors, collectively contributing over 4,257 million in spend. Western Australians are continuing to travel within their state in increasing numbers. Year-end March 2014 of the National Visitor Survey showed significant growth in intrastate overnight visitation at plus 9%, ahead of the national average at 4%. And a spend increase of 4%. Growth has been driven fairly evenly by each of the holiday leisure, VFR and business segments. Intrastate overnight visitation contributes $2,674 million in spend and represents approximately $473 average spend per visitor. 21.5 million nights with a 3.8 night on average per trip. Visitor nights grew 13.8% ahead of the national average of 4.1%. Source markets are primarily Perth at 63% of the overnight visitation and Australia's southwest with 22%. Issues for the intrastate market continue to be a competitive landscape driving significantly high outbound. Western Australians are continuing to travel out of the country in increasing numbers, with year ending March 14 showing an increase of 8%, which represents approximately 856,000 outbound trips. Cost of accommodation and air access, pushing up the cost of a holiday in Western Australia, has also been a significant issue for us. And a competitive travel category has also been influencing the strong outbound. Just a note around day trip. We also count day trip visitors as a significant source of yield for the tourism industry. The definition of a day trip or same-day visitor are those who travel for a round-trip distance of at least 50 kilometres, are away from home for at least 4 hours, and who do not spend a night away from home as part of their travel. Encouragingly, while the national average of intrastate day trip visitors declined year-end March 2014 for all visitor segments, the number of WA intrastate day trips increased by 2.5%. The day trip visitor represents $107 per visitor per trip, and the purpose of visit most popular is holiday and leisure. These slides show graphical representation of the visitation data, so I won't spend too much more information on each of these slides, but they're for your information. So I'd just like to talk now about the interstate visitation data. But first I just want to make this point. Overall for WA, the NVS and IVS results show that 22.5 million visitors came to or travelled within WA during the year ending March 2014. These visitors spent $8 billion in the state, a growth of 6.9% or 515 million more than year ending March 2013. What is interesting to note is that this growth in spend has been driven by the domestic market, particularly the interstate market. In terms of the interstate market for WA, the first signs of rebound in the interstate market was in June 2013. As of the March NVS figures, interstate visitation and nights in WA has increased significantly, with visitors up 9.9% and nights up 10.3%, well ahead of the national average. Interstate spend grew by more than almost a third at 30%, well ahead of the national average. This increase in interstate visitor spend is a reflection of increases in visitor numbers and nights, which is a significant improvement on the data we have been receiving to past and a good result for Western Australian tourism. Growth is still led by the business and VFR segments. The holiday leisure segment has remained stable. I just want to refer to the growth which I indicated in the opening slide of 1.5% for 2015. This is a national tourism forecast released by Tourism Research Australia in June 2014. In terms of outlook for the 2014-15 domestic travel is expected to grow by 1.5%. The domestic market is still the largest market for WA, so Tourism WA will continue to encourage Australians to visit Western Australia and Western Australians to travel in Western Australia. So once again, these slides are just a graphical representation of the data, but I just want to touch on interstate visitation source markets and just spend a little bit more time on that particular slide. In addition to visitor numbers and purpose of visit, it's worth noting the domestic source markets. Victoria is currently the largest Australian source market, delivering 31% of visitors to WA, representing approximately 390,000. New South Wales currently delivers 29% of visitors to WA, representing 365,000. Queensland currently delivers 22% of visitors to WA, representing 276,000. So Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland are currently our biggest source markets for WA. The majority of interstate visitation is to the Experience Perth region at 86%, with ANW and ASW each receiving 30%, AGO at 7% and a Coral Coast at 4%. We'll now take you through some of our key initiatives. As we go through these, you will see that some of our presentation differs from some of the international market presentations. The international markets are able to address individual activities, but from a domestic perspective, we're talking more about the key strategies that form the domestic market. And if you have any particular questions around the detail, you can send those through to us and we'll be able to address that either at the end of the presentation or we'll follow up with you by email afterwards. But first of all, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about some of the challenges that we faced from an interstate point of view. Research that we have recently undertaken confirms that time, cost and distance continue to be the major barriers for travel to Western Australia. Limited consumer knowledge of WA. Consideration has seen little fluctuation over the past few years despite a large amount of marketing activity, with those key barriers of time, cost and distance impacting on the ability to lift that consideration further. The competitive travel category and landscape still presents us with significant challenges in terms of cutting through the media environment, particularly when our source markets are primarily Sydney and Melbourne, where most other state tourism organisations and other outbound destinations are actively marketing their destinations. We've also seen an increase in the overall industry spend in the tourism category, which makes us very hard to compete with our existing budgets. I just wanted to show you this slide because it's a very important and interesting piece to understand the challenges that we face in promoting a WA experience. A WA holiday is currently outside the range of difficulty for many consumers. Tourism WA continually addresses these issues across all of our channels in terms of educating the consumer of what a WA holiday stands for, to enable the consumer to understand the benefits as being worthwhile and worthy of the investment. We can't make WA closer to the East Coast, but we do work with the trade to put significant price and product campaigns in market and trigger conversion. The research showed us that the single most common trigger for the interstate market is a good airfare. And we'll talk a little bit more later about some of the trade initiatives that we're undertaking to deliver those airfares to consumers. So we need to turn our biggest challenge of distance into a tangible benefit and talk about Western Australia's scale, untouched and pristine environment and adventure. I wanted to also show you this slide. Consumers' purchasing patterns have also changed. What was quite a linear consumer purchasing cycle is now very complex and influenced by the strong emergence of digital technology. The path to conversion is no longer linear. An extensive amount of time is spent by consumers online and in other channels collecting information. Social channels are more prevalent in influencing consideration and preference, the rationale being that people trust the opinion of others and will use this information to inform their journey. So as we go through the key initiatives this afternoon, you'll be able to see how we are addressing some of these changes in the consumer's purchasing pattern. So how do we overcome these barriers? Well, we target our communications to the right audience. Tourism WA's primary target audience for the domestic market is based on the Roy Morgan segmentation of aspirational achievers and dedicated discoverers. Generally, they are 35 to 64 years old with a household income of 100,000 plus, travelling without children. They are a relatively upmarket audience. They are united by some common attitudes. They are naturally curious, value experiences, and believe that you get back what you give, and that a holiday is about more than just rest. It's also important to note that we have a secondary target audience which covers grey explorers and families in the intrastate market. One of the strong key pillars of the domestic strategy is brand marketing. Encouraging consumers to travel to a destination that is perceived as far away, time-consuming to explore and costly needs strong, convincing, inspirational, emotional and visually aspirational advertising material. Our brand marketing strategy aims to raise awareness and consideration of a WA holiday by using research to define key elements and using those links such as reconnection with family and friends as a critical element to our advertising platform. For most domestic destinations, the emotive needs drive travel decisions. Tourism WA invests approximately $4 million in consumer direct media in 2014 and 15 into the source domestic markets of Sydney, Melbourne and Perth. The media is targeted at our audience of 35 to 64 aspirational achievers and dedicated discoverers. We aim to be in market for August, November, February and May, subject to our channel strategy and our budget. Our channel strategy adapts each year according to the results and research and continuous improvement strategies. Where possible, we align with key trade distributors to maximise to achieve brand extension and maximise our conversion opportunities. We evaluate our program through brand tracker research, and we also report an ROI on the basis of this research. I'd just like to talk about the cooperative marketing program, which is the second pillar of the domestic strategy. The cooperative marketing program is a strategy to build on awareness and consideration to trigger conversion and drive bookings for the WA tourism industry. The program includes working with airlines, wholesalers, retailers and online travel agents, each representing a wide range of Western Australian tourism product. There has been an increase in the number of online travel agents in the program, given consumer trends for booking holiday product has seen a significant shift to this channel. Where possible, Tourism WA works with the regional tourism organisations to leverage funding for campaigns to focus on specific parts of WA. There are also a number of whole of WA campaigns in the program. Of the airlines, there are 2 cooperative marketing agreements in place with Tourism WA, Jetstar and Qantas. In addition, Tourism WA has been working with Virgin Australia to leverage their marketing platforms, and we also invest in small campaigns with Tiger Air. In 2014-15, the Domestic Cooperative Marketing Program will see an investment of $2 million in tactical campaigns. This will leverage approximately $3 million in industry funding from trade distributors. This year we have 17 trade partners, plus Qantas and Jetstar. This activity allows Tourism WA to also broaden our domestic footprint into other states with a high focus on Sydney and Melbourne. The outcomes from the cooperative program are audited and form a KPI in the CEO's performance group agreement. For more information on the partners we are working with, you can contact us at Tourism WA or download the domestic fact sheet on the corporate website. And we'll talk about that a little bit more shortly. The third key pillar of the domestic marketing strategy is events marketing. Events marketing is critical in communicating there is always something on in our extraordinary state, raising the profile of Western Australia as an events destination for visitors. The strategy aims to convert consumers who intend to visit sometime to want to come now. It includes a mix of city and regional events. Tourism WA events invests approximately $1 million each year in intrastate media to promote WA events. The channel strategy is integrated with paid advertising, digital, social media, cooperative marketing, PR and event-specific activations. In addition, we work with trade distributors to package key events where possible, such as the Margaret River Gourmet Escape, particularly to attract interstate visitors. Where packaging is not possible, we work with trade distributors to include content about events in cooperative campaigns to promote the value add of an event while on holiday in Western Australia. We also have 2 important special purpose initiatives that are being funded by the State Government: the Kimberley Sites and Conservation Strategy and the Caravan and Camping Action Plan. The State Government released the Kimberley Sites and Conservation Strategy in June 2011 as an initiative of the Government to protect the tourism values of the Kimberley. Tourism Western Australia, in partnership with DPAW and Department of Regional Development, is responsible for implementing the initiatives of the strategy. Tourism WA has a marketing agenda to help promote the Kimberley Aerial Highway, the development of self-drive tourism corridors and 4-wheel drive expedition tracks. A range of marketing has been implemented to promote the program, including media visits, published articles, broadcast programs such as Coast, cooperative marketing to promote and sell packages, particularly with aerial experiences across the Kimberley. The Caravan and Camping Action Plan is a result of a Western Australian Government Economic and Industry Standing Committee into the use and regulation of caravan parks and camping in Western Australia. The action plan has been developed to position Western Australia as the nation's most attractive caravan and camping holiday destination by improving the supply, delivery and promotion of the sector. The State Government has now committed $40 million for royalties for regions to implement the action plan and deliver the marketing responsibilities for that sector. The Caravan and Camping Action Plan funds have been allocated to marketing to support the infrastructure initiatives. Tourism WA's domestic and some international markets have developed campaigns to promote caravan and camping experiences in Western Australia. The budget for 2014 and 15 is $700,000 and campaigns will be implemented in the domestic market, USA, New Zealand, Singapore, Germany and the UK. Destination PR is a very important part of our communication strategy. It plays an important role in supporting above-the-line brand campaigns by showcasing the destination first-hand to media, and raising awareness of the many extraordinary experiences in WA. The program includes hosting journalists, bloggers, ambassadors, broadcast programs, ongoing media communications through a dedicated e-newsletter and ongoing media inquiries. On an annual basis, Tourism WA invests approximately $1 million in destination PR across all markets, with approximately $500,000 in the domestic market. Digital marketing is also a key piece of communication in our strategy. We invest approximately $800,000 in search marketing, social platforms, EDM, WACOM, and a program called HDW for WA. We just launched the new westernaustralia.com on Monday, which is our consumer-facing website that receives around 2.5 to 3 million visits annually. It is a source of destination attraction experience information as well as tourism products and events. In addition to WACOM, Tourism WA's digital marketing program includes email marketing, monthly EDMs, profiling and database growth, social media through Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, and developing new social channels where possible. The mobile app, Experience WA, campaign support for our brand campaigns and cooperative marketing campaigns, PR and media support through blogger and Twitter outreach programs, search engine marketing, and content development on a regular basis. HDW for WA is a content program that encourages accredited accommodation, tours, attractions and transport providers to list their product with HDW to take advantage of a national distribution program that exposes your products to millions of consumers. For more information, visit our website, or we can provide you some information directly from the domestic team. In terms of industry engagement, tourism.wa.gov.au is our corporate website, and it's a key tool for tourism operators and related stakeholders in the industry. It is a portal for information on research, marketing activities, industry resources, brand toolkits and market fact sheets, and there is a dedicated fact sheet and quarterly update for the domestic market available on the corporate website. The domestic marketing fact sheet provides a list of the trade distribution partners that we work with during the course of the year for you to take advantage of and leverage our investment in tactical campaigns with the trade. This is directly related to your distribution strategy and the programs that you are contracted with to take advantage of Tourism WA's $2 million investment in those programs. With Talking Tourism, it's a great way to keep abreast of the domestic brand campaigns and cooperative campaigns. So you can either speak directly with the travel distributor or as a contracted supplier, or leverage the campaigns in your own way. I also suggest you download the How to Share Extraordinary fact sheet, which informs you on how to connect with Tourism WA teams such as PR and FMILS, subscribing to Talking Tourism, and our media newsletter innovations to hear about the latest activities. And that's really it from me. So I'm happy to spend the next few minutes answering any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? We've got, okay. How many campaigns are you doing with Qantas in the domestic market this financial year?
This financial year we'll be delivering 2 key campaigns with Qantas, and they will be, the timing is somewhat confidential at the moment because of the other airlines that we work with, but if you're interested in finding out more information, I'm happy for you to contact either myself or Brooke in the domestic team to find out more information.
Okay, there's another one here. How can events in my local area be promoted on WA.com?
Events can be promoted on WA.com by listing your event through HDW for WA. There's a link on the corporate site under Industry Resources, and there's also a phone number that you can call which will assist you in loading your event. So that means your event not only goes on westernaustralia.com, but also actually can go through to Tourism Australia's website and several other websites that take that download from, take that third-party feed from HDW.
Okay, there's one more here. How can my business participate in media visits that are organised by Tourism WA?
So you need to contact our Families team at Tourism WA, and I think those details are also on the corporate website.
Are any of your campaigns targeting the local hotels?
Yes. The campaigns that we deliver with travel distributors, if you are contracted as a supplier with any of the travel distributors that we're working with, then yes, we are definitely targeting hotels or any tourism product that is contracted with those travel distributors. So if you go to the corporate website and you look under industry resources, you will actually be able to download the domestic fact sheet which has a list of the travel distributors that we're working with during this year.
And another one, what's the average length of stay of the domestic visitor?
3.8 nights for intra, and I think it's 5 to 7 nights for inter.
Yeah. Lee, who is logged into this session, I think if you mean who's going to be presenting on this session, we're just wrapping up the domestic one now, and we're about to start with the German one at 4 o'clock sharp, and at 4:30 we'll have Sandra Leach and Christy Lord presenting on the UK market. Currently over 40 attendees listening today, so well done everybody.
Thanks very much for tuning in. It's great to be able to speak to you, and Brooke and I are happy to take any other questions that you may have offline about the domestic market.
Thank you everybody. So just stand by, we'll hand it over to Andy shortly and kick off with the German one, but we need to start at 4 o'clock as promised, just in case some other people have scheduled themselves to log in at 4 and watch the next. Okay. All right. Stand by. We'll be back with you shortly for the German presentation. Thank you everybody for standing by. We're just about to start our presentation from Andy Schunk, who is in Germany, live to you this afternoon. I think we're pretty close to 4 o'clock. Andy, I think I might hand over to you. We'll just give you control of the keyboard so that you can do your presentation.
Well,
okay, Andy? Yeah, you there? Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Cool.
So,
let's start. Thanks, Peppy. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Germany Markets Update. My name is Andy. I'm Tourism Western Australia's Marketing Manager here in Continental Europe. I'm looking after German-speaking Europe, Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. And I want to quickly introduce you to the team here in Germany. So we have on the left side Red Lego, our strategic director. He's at this very moment sitting in the plane to PNG, so hopefully he will come back in one piece. It's myself, Andreas, or Andy, and we also have Connie here, Cornelia, our PR manager. Contact person at head office is Beppy. That's changing, come on. Just want to give you some background information on the German and Swiss traveler. Here we go. So, of course, you know, we Germans, we love beer and pork knuckle, but what does the German traveler want? So, Tourism Australia Consumer Trends highlights that German travelers want a destination that offers value for money, a safe and secure destination, good food, wine and local produce, world-class beauty, natural environment, and friendly and open citizens. And I think WA delivers all that. The key passion segments for Germans and Swiss are self-driving, natural wonders, nature activities such as walking or kayaking, and indigenous experiences. So the Germans really, they love to explore. They stay a few days in Perth, they book their rental car or their camper van, and then they spend 2, 3, 4 weeks exploring the right country. That's what they really want. A few characteristics on the market. The market is renowned for its length of stay, the high repeatership, and the regional dispersal. So the average length of stay for a German or Swiss visitor to WA is 43 nights. Germany has also the highest level of regional dispersal of all international markets. So a share of 26% of Germans visit the southwest, 24% the northwest, 33% the Gold Coast, and even 19% the Golden Outback. And 22% of German and Swiss visitors to WA are repeat visitors. The German and Swiss visitor to WA will most likely be second or third time visitor to Australia. So on the first trip, a German or a Swiss, they want to go to Sydney, East Coast, Great Barrier Reef, and maybe to Ayers Rock. And we can't really do much about it. They want to do that, but the good thing is they do that on their first trip, they fell in love with the country, and they want to come back to see the real Australia, the authentic part of Australia, which means they're going to come to WA. Another good point is the strong aviation growth to WA. So we have daily services on Emirates, Singapore, Etihad, Qatar Airways into Perth. And even other airlines such as Cathay or Thai, okay, we will see what's going to happen with Malaysia Airlines, but they offer 2 to 5 weekly flights as well. And that hopefully will help us to also attract more first-time visitors. Even on their way to the East Coast, they can stop for a few days or a few weeks in Perth and WA. Germany is also a very strong contributor to WA's regional workforce due to the working holiday makers. So I think in total there are 27,000 working holiday makers from Germany in Australia every year. And another important fact is that Germans still booking via the traditional booking channels. So they go to their local travel agency and they book there via the wholesaler. Just 12% of the Germans book a trip to WA or to Australia online. Sorry for that. Just a few key stats. Germany and Switzerland, they estimated visitors and the spend. So visitors from Germany to WA, this number grew by 22% from year ending June to year ending June 2014 within 1 year. So we have at the moment a total of 31,800 visitors from Germany, and the numbers grew from Switzerland to 11,900 visitors, and there was a growth of 28%. The visitors spent from Germany has grown to $83 million in the same time period, which is a plus of 25.7%, and the spend from Switzerland is up to 26 million now, which is a plus of 15%. So combined, they spend roughly $110 million in the state. Another slide, I created this slide and combined the markets, Germany and Switzerland, to give you a better idea. So Germany and Switzerland combined are ranked 6th in total number of visitors. So we have year ending June 2014, 43,700 visitors from the two countries here in Europe to WA, which is a growth of 24% compared to year ending June 2013. So still 8,000 ahead of China, and the growth is really strong as well. The Germany visitation history, so you can see now June 2014, it's pretty much in terms of visitors, it's the same level then, or we exceeded actually the level from 2008, and spend is looking all right as well, so hopefully we can continue with that growth out of our market. Visitor age group and purpose of visit. So on the left side you can see 25% of the German visitors are between 15 and 24 years old, 41% are 25 to 44, and 30% 45 to 64. On the right side, purpose of visit, great thing to see, 76% of the Germans are spending their holidays in WA. 20% are visiting friends and family, and a few business visitors as well. Our target audience, our primary target audience are the experience seekers aged 30 to 59, self-drive adventurers, travelers wanting to see the world-class beauty and intend to travel outside of Europe in the next 12 months. The secondary audience are the young travelers, young couples, students, backpackers aged 18 to 29, and of course the large number of working holiday makers from Germany. Switzerland doesn't have the working holiday option, but a lot of young Swiss people are flying to WA and Australia in general to do language courses, and they spend quite a decent amount of time in the country or in the state. Some key issues and strategy. I think that's important for you to understand what challenges we are facing here in market. A good example is that Australia actually ranked second after the United States on the intent to travel list, ahead of Canada, New Zealand, South Africa, and a lot of other competitors. However, there's a large gap between intent and actually travel. So the actual travel, I think Australia is just ranked 16th. There are like a number of reasons. A lot of Germans don't really want to fly such a long distance. The flight time to the United States or to South Africa, it's much shorter, and of course it's cheaper for them as well. Australia in general, and especially WA, unfortunately, is considered an expensive destination. What can we do against that? One of our missions is create urgency to travel now. So travel to Australia, in terms of the cost of airfares, has never been cheaper. Last year, for example, we had a great campaign with Qantas, and we sold tickets for €890 return to Perth, which is awesome. The other thing what we want to do is the content, the storytelling. We have to raise awareness of WA within the consumer. We got to teach the agents how, or train the agents how to sell WA. WA, when you see Australia, WA is still a bit of the unknown. Even the travel agents, some of them have been to WA, but there is a lot of work to do. The strongest growth market in Germany, as mentioned before, is the working holiday visa travelers. And this opens a great opportunity for us because we can target their parents and their friends to visit them whilst they are in Australia or in WA, ideally. So that helps us to create the urgency to travel now. And that's why our secondary focus is on this working holiday makeup market, and we want to capitalize on Australia's ongoing fashionability. Another issue is that Australia here in market, so all state tourism organizations and Tourism Australia themselves, we are pretty much outspent by our competitors. So Brand USA, Tourism South Africa, they have large budgets and they do massive campaigns here in market. The good thing is that Australia has become more competitive again due to the weakening Australian dollar, and there's more buying power for the euro on the ground, which helps us a lot. So we're trying to get that message in the market. The other thing what we're doing, we are working, we have a strong partnership strategy. So we're working with airlines, with Tourism Australia, with other STOs, wholesale partners, media, even non-industry partners, to increase and leverage our funding. So we have a wider range, we have a bigger message here in market. I want to just show you a few activities what we're planning to do or already done in the new financial year. Some marketing activities. Explorer Fernreisen Co-op. So the first time ever we convinced Explorer Fernreisen, they're one of the 3 big direct sellers here in Germany, and we convinced them to brochure 2 new self-drives, one 5-day Southwest self-drive and 8 days Southwest and the Golden Outback. And that was the reason why we sent Ute Brown, the marketing manager, on a 12-day self-drive for Mill throughout the 2 regions in July. She wrote already a 4-page article about her trip, and that was published in Explorer's Consumer magazine, and they sent that to 26,000 of their regular consumers. And that helps us to introduce these new regions for them and the new products, the self-drive. She will even write a longer article for Explorer Fernreisen's intranet, so she can teach their agents how to sell the regions. And in the article, there's part of her itinerary, her highlights, products, activities, all that is covered in there. Next slide. Boomerang Reisen. Boomerang Reisen is one of our major partners here in market, and they're celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. So they're producing an anniversary magazine, 130 pages. They print 50,000 copies. It's an introduction of Boomerang Reisen and what they stand for. And they will also include 20 special anniversary journeys. They will distribute this magazine via their own shops, the trade shows they're visiting, etc. There are going to be other activities included, a landing page, press, window displays. Tourism Western Australia secured 6 pages for WA, including maps, highlights, images, introduction of WA and the regions, and Waitok and the Aboriginal culture. And the great thing is that we have one of the anniversary journeys in there as well. It's the Kimberley Self-Drive. Wasn't that easy because Boomerang is selling Africa, North America, South America, Australia, New Zealand, South Pacific. So just 20 journeys in all these countries and continents, and we have the Kimberley Self-Drive in there. Another great campaign is the Saleva Tourism Australia and STO Co-op campaign. Saleva is a multi-specialist in mountain sports with shops here in Europe and Hong Kong, United States. Focus, of course, will be here German-speaking Europe. Saleva, you can compare Saleva with Kathmandu maybe. And the objective is to tell Western Australia stories as a perfect outdoor destination and increase the knowledge of the iconic outdoor experiences. There are 2 project pillars. Trail Me Up, that's a website, Italian outdoor enthusiasts. Their mission is to map iconic trails all over the world. So we're going to have these guys in WA in November. Might send them to Bibbulmun. We haven't discussed that yet. And the second part is Get Vertical in Australia. So you can enter a contest playing a gaming app or via the website. So participants have to discover Australia, explore the participating states, and there are 4 experiences per state, and then they can enter the contest. And again, there are other activities involved, trade fairs, window displays, and we're going to have 6 journalists in Australia, and we will also visit WA. Just talked to STA Travel this morning. This is a great roadshow we are planning in Switzerland with STA Travel Switzerland, Etihad as the partner. Focus is to push WA as the authentic destination within Australia, not only to repeat travelers, also to first-time travelers, hopefully with a good set of fares from Etihad. We have 8 STA consumer evenings in STA shops in Switzerland planned and 4 trade shows. And you see on the right side the Defender, that's Tourism Australia's and STA Travel's Defender. They had that in, they had a roadshow last year here in Germany where they used that. So we're going to have that exclusively for WA now, branded with the Experience Extraordinary logo. And the Defender will be equipped with WA brochures, maps, etc. I can't visit all the events in Switzerland. I can't travel there 12 times, but I do a webinar training for all the shops that they know what the message is. The Best of Travel Group Self-Drive brochure. This will be a dedicated brochure about WA in cooperation with the Best of Travel Group. That's one of the other big direct sellers here in Germany. The brochure will include information about WA, maps, distance charts, motivation, why to travel WA by car or camper van, information on national parks, etc. Three packages, fly and drive, including flights, camper van hire, will be in there. And then we have per region, all the 5 regions of WA, going to have between 2 and 6 pages with introduction of the region and product. We want to sell in the brochure, so we're going to sell self-drive itineraries, day tours, Aborigine experiences, and also accommodation. The brochure will be released in January, just before the main trade fairs, such as CMT in Stuttgart or PESPO in Switzerland, before they start. 25,000 copies, and that will be in addition to best of normal brochure that will be advertised on the back of their main Australia brochure. Other activities planned. We have airline agreements with Etihad Airways, and we're planning a campaign with them in Tourism Australia and hopefully Myers Weltreisen as the trade partner, targeting our primary target group. Another airline agreement with Qantas, and hopefully I can secure STA Travel here in Germany as a trade partner to target our secondary target group. Singapore Airlines, our third airline agreement, and we secured their tour, probably the biggest wholesaler to Australia here in Germany, as a trade partner, and Tourism Northern Territory will also join that campaign. And the focus will be combine WA and the NT for a unique and authentic Australian experience. Shortest flight time, 4 daily services with Singapore Airlines into Perth, and I think 5 times weekly from Darwin to Singapore. So that's a great opportunity for the Germans to combine these 2 states. Another campaign with Oceania Reisen in Switzerland, 12-page boutique WA tour brochure, 5,000 copies. Again, all regions, rate talk, everything will be covered. Special characters, 1 each of the regions, and that will be released in October. Another one with Hotel Plan or Travel House in Switzerland. We're going to see window displays in March with a flyer and special offers in 100 well-located agencies for 5 weeks, newsletter to 65,000 subscribers. And there are many other campaigns in the pipeline. We're going to work with Dreamtime Travel, Kuoni, Nova Tours in Switzerland. At the moment, I'm updating the Aussie Specialist WA module. This is Tourism Australia's training program for travel agents in Germany. That will be launched in November. And we're also going to have a Travel One joint co-op. Travel One is a German travel trade magazine, and that is a co-op between Tourism Australia and all state tourism organizations. Come on. And I mentioned that before, WA is still a bit of the unknown, so we really have to go out there and attend consumer shows, trade shows, and do agent trainings to raise the awareness of WA. So consumer shows, the confirmed ones here, Knechtreisen, great partner in Switzerland. WA was the destination of the year last year. So I'm going to be there at the Consumer Day Diamir Reisen in Dresden in Eastern Germany in October. As mentioned before, the STA Travel Roadshow in Switzerland are probably going to attend 3 or 4 events there out of the 12. Dreamtime Reisetag is always a great event in Switzerland. And CMT is one of the biggest consumer shows. I will be there in January. I think last year CMT saw 245,000 visitors, so there's great potential. Trade show, PESPO, the biggest trade and consumer show in Switzerland, ITV, the biggest in the world in Berlin in March, and of course ATE in Melbourne. Agent trainings, Knechtreisen, just a day before the consumer event, there's a great agent training workshop where they invite all their agents. Same for Diamir Reisen in October. I do STA Travel webinar for Germany, so all the 52 shops will log on to that webinar. Tourism Australia's Germany Roadshow, the training event in November with all STOs. We're traveling to 5 cities in Germany and probably going to train up to 300 Aussie specialist agents. And there's another training event with Travel House in Zurich in January. Industry opportunities, Germany, of course, Vermill support. The Knechtreisen Vermill, next month, we're going to the Southwest and the Golden Outback, corroboree for mill to the Coral Coast in May. We're going to have a roadshow for mill in June. Regions haven't discussed that yet. We had a roadshow here in Europe in June, and we gave 2 tickets away in each of the cities. So we did a raffle in the end of the workshop, and the 2 winners will join us on the FORMIL, so 8 in total. And of course we have media FORMILs, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Major campaigns, the self-drive brochure, our major campaigns with our partners here, of course. ITB in Berlin 2015 in March. Last year we had Adam and Andrew from Crikey Camper there and Pedro from WANT Tours. Corroboree 2015 will be held in Adelaide. That's a great opportunity to attend the workshops and train roughly 300 European travel agents on your product. The European Product Workshop in London, next time in 2016, all major product managers will attend that event, and it's great to introduce new products to the market. And of course, we're going to do the European Roadshow again here in Germany, Switzerland, and then over to the UK in 2016. Timing needs to be discussed, but it's definitely going to happen. What else can we do here in Germany to push your product, or product updates, new product? We have a trade newsletter, a bi-monthly trade newsletter, the Aussie Specialist monthly German-speaking newsletter, 12 press releases a year. The new WA.com website, we're going to see a new German version as well. And we are working on the development of a Tourism Western Australia German Facebook page. Just a quick overview on the PR media part. So Cornelia is working on that. Every year we do roughly 5 individual FEM trips. An example is Krista Arnett. She's a Swiss freelance. She's traveling to WA next month, and she will be traveling from Perth to Sydney in the Indian Pacific with a 3-day stopover in Kalgoorlie. She's writing for this Touring magazine, the biggest and most important newspaper for mobile and leisure time activities in Switzerland. It's the official magazine of the Touring Club Switzerland. Then we have Florian, oh my God, St. Johansa, that's a Bavarian name, I think. He's a freelance for the Süddeutsche Zeitung, one of the biggest daily newspapers, and he will be in WA in the Southwest in November, heading to the Mandabidi Trail, and he will write a feature in the Süddeutsche Zeitung. And every financial year we are doing a group FEM trip. This year's FEM trip will go to the Southwest in November. Program is Perth, the dining boom, all the small bar and restaurant scene in the city, in the CBD, and also in Leederville and all the suburbs. Food and wine in Margaret River, outdoor activities, Cape to Cape walk, wildlife, whale watching, dolphins, and also the indigenous experiences. Connie is working on it at the moment, so at this stage there are 2 confirmed already, 2 participants. One is writing for the Hannoversche Allgemeine Zeitung, another big daily newspaper with 18 regional sub-newspapers. We have a freelance from Reisen Exklusiv, a well-known travel magazine here in Germany, and a female lifestyle magazine as well. Other target media is food and lifestyle publications, newspapers with a good reach. Next slide. Okay, story hooks that are particularly interesting for German-speaking media is Natural Wonder, Outback, Indigenous, Unique Adventures, Strong Project. I would call them special characters. So we're looking for authentic people, maybe German immigrants, whatever, something special that works here in market. And we also pitch, of course, food and wine, especially this year with the Western Australia campaign from Tourism Australia takes place. And that was one of the reasons why we decided to visit the Southwest in November with a group FEM trip. Our media targets are high-end lifestyle magazine, high-end food and travel magazine, special interest, and also leading national daily newspapers. And I think that's it for my side. So if you have any questions, feel free to send it to Beppy.
Okay. There's a couple sitting here already. Andy, the The WA self-drive brochure with Best of Travel Group sounds great. Can you repeat who the partners were, please?
Well, at this stage, it's the Best of Travel Group and ourselves, TWA. There will be Apollo Motorhomes, THL, Quirky Camper, going to be in there as well. And we also targeting an airline to join us in that campaign. And then the next step will be to discuss with Inka and Bernd from Best of what product inclusions we're going to see in there. But that is still in the planning circle at this stage.
Okay. Have we seen an increase or a move to online booking over the last few years from the traditional travel agents in Germany?
No, we don't. The thing is with Germans, they do a lot of research. So when they think of a trip to Australia, they start 6 to 12 months in advance. They do a lot of research online. They might even check fares for the flight online. In the end of the day, they go to the retail travel agent and they book there. So they do the research online, they check the fares, but in the end of the day, they book with their local agency. Okay.
Have you considered Karijini National Park Gorges for Sail WA mountain sports?
Yes. We talk about Saleva and the campaign maybe, so we haven't decided. Definitely considering Karijini, because that's one of the iconic experiences in WA. I've been there as well. I'm definitely considering it would be great to include that to the Saleva and Tourism Australia campaign.
Okay, so a couple more. What can I do to promote new products in your market?
Well, of course, as I said, like we have different channels here with the newsletters, etc. The best thing to do is always, when you want to start to work here in our market, the European Product Workshop in London is normally the first step, because you're going to meet all the product managers face to face and introduce your product to them. Then next step, Corroboree, of course, our roadshow, ATE, that is normally the best event to introduce your product and our channel.
And there's one more here, Andy. You mentioned the Connect Raisin for Mill to Australia's Southwest and Golden Outback in October. Can you provide more information on this?
Yes. I said before, WA was the destination of the year in the current brochure. So we're going to do a FAMIL. We have 9 of their best-selling travel agents and the product manager of Knecht Reisen. I will escort this trip 8 days, flying into Perth and then heading down south via Margaret River, Albany to the south coast, Esperance, and then inland to Cal, and then back from Cal to Perth, and we're flying home. And hopefully we're going to see some great results there as well.
One more has just come in, or 2 more have just come in. Is Perth pricing now competitive with the East Coast?
Can you repeat, sorry?
Are you finding that Perth pricing is now competitive with the East Coast?
Yes, I think we saw, like, the market is aware of the fact that the prices, especially for Perth hotels, have dropped a bit. And I think the understanding is that we know it. We just had to get the message in the market. But honestly, it's getting way better. Like last year or 2 years ago, everyone was just saying, oh, Perth is too expensive. Yeah, and it's much, much better now.
Okay. I see we actually do have to finish up now, but Melissa, I will pass your query on to Andy and he could probably get online to you. Andy, thanks so much for a fantastic presentation. That was great.
And, thanks everyone.
Yeah, and we're ready to get started with Christy. Thanks a lot, Andy.
Thank you.
Okay, see ya. So Christy, we're just going to hand controls over to you. If you're there, are you there?
Yes, myself and Sandra are here, Beppy.
Ah, yes, okay. All right, so we've got actually Sandra and Christy's giving a presentation for us now on the UK, and we're ready to get started. Christy, you should have control of the keyboard.
Okay, we'll move on from there. I'm just working the keyboard here.
Slight delay.
Just remember to click on it first, I think.
Yeah, I'm just doing that. Won't be one moment. We are clicking on it, Beppy, but unfortunately we can't at the moment click through the slides.
Okay, just a moment, we'll see what we can do.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, just try again.
Okay.
Yay.
Hooray! Hello everybody, it's Sandra and Christy here from a rather grey London this morning, but it's great to be here talking to everybody. I'm just going to run through some facts about the current UK market, and then Christy is going to talk in more detail about some of the activity that we have planned for the forthcoming year. So just quickly to run through the team, there's 4 of us in London, myself, Christy, who manages all of the activity we do here, Ellen, who looks after all of our PR and gets fantastic results, and Claire, who's our marketing executive, and I'm no doubt some of you will have spoken to all of us at some point. So I'm just going to start by talking through some of the trends and the forecasts for the UK market. And generally speaking, I'm delighted to say it's a really positive picture out of the UK. We're out of recession. In fact, our growth this year is forecasted to be 3.5%, which is such a contrast to what's been happening for the last 3 or 4 years. We're all delighted. There's a lot of consumer confidence returning to the marketplace. Our house prices are increasing, which we all like. And very good news specifically for Australia is that the weakening Australian dollar has brought a lot of relief into the travel industry. It actually means that prices are coming down for travel to Australia, which is good news for the consumers. We've also had a few things that I think will affect our future spending aspirations. Our pension system, for example, has become more flexible. People are going to be able to free up more money, and we think that longer term that will benefit travel and tourism. So all of this, all of the positive economic forecasts mean that one particular age group, that those that travel between the age of 50 and 69, is forecast to grow by another 1 million passengers by 2020. And that means that the UK is going to continue to represent solid opportunities for growth, dispersal and spend to Western Australia. A few other factors. We have good capacity out of the UK. The Middle Eastern airlines in particular are growing their UK market very strongly. And of course the increased competition means that the prices are staying very competitive. One of our problems over the last few years has been high aviation tax and fuel surcharges, but the government has capped those now, so that again is a very positive factor for us. Just a little bit of insight into the trade. The travel trade is still very important for distribution in the UK. Australia and Western Australia in particular are multi-destinational aspirations. People are not just traveling to one place, they are traveling around, and the travel industry is still really the best place for people to book that. Our high street agencies are continuing to deliver. Companies such as Keone, Trailfinders and Bath are all increasing their high street shops. And we've even just heard that Virgin Holidays now are planning to open new stores within Tesco supermarkets. So the high street travel agency is still alive. There's still some consolidation and change, but that does seem to have slowed down a little bit. And in some cases, probably Thomas Cook is the highest profile, they're actually going back to core business, and they've sold the specialist businesses of Gold Medal and Elegant Resorts. So we're seeing some turn in that direction. The niche and luxury operators are looking to Australia to grow their business. And companies such as Exus are now introducing Australia products to their programs. So generally speaking, it's a very positive forecast out of the UK. And in terms of numbers, well, we're performing well. These figures from the UK up until December 2013 show that visitor numbers increased by 9.3%, and the March figures have actually shown an increase of 11.3%. So we're continuing that growth in visitor numbers. The good news is that once we're there, we continue to disperse as well. Obviously, Perth is the focus of our visitors, and pure geography dictates that Australia Southwest will see the highest percentage of British visitors. But overall, we are dispersing, and over 30% of us are getting to parts of our regions. This graph shows the visitation history, and it's interesting. The dark blue line is the spend, and the light blue line are the visitor numbers. And what you can see is that in line with UK visitors to Australia overall, our numbers dropped quite significantly between 2008 and 2012. However, look at the turnaround. The visitor numbers are now coming back very strongly. The spend didn't drop as much, and that was due to the high, strong Australian dollar. But I think that as we continue to see the visitor numbers increase, we'll see the spend increase as well. So generally speaking, it's very good news. And the other piece of information that we're really pleased about is you look at the purpose of visitors. This is up until December 2013, and what you can see is that the pure holiday makers have increased by 14.3%, and that's great news because they are the people that are dispersing and getting out and about. The VFR, which is important for Western Australia, again has shown strong rebound, and that's up by 11.9%. The areas which have dropped are in business and education. I'm not quite sure what the other is. So if we just talk about who we're targeting in the UK, we're basically targeting the people that are travelling, and the 50 plus ABC ones with a propensity to long haul travel. This is all in line with Tourism Australia's target audience as well, and it makes sense for us to work with them because we are targeting the same people. There are a lot of growth opportunities around the working holiday makers. Between the 18 to 30-year-olds, they're coming out, they're travelling, they're working, and they become the ambassadors of the future, so that's important to us. VFR, very strong. You all know how many Brits live in Perth, and that represents 58% of the traffic. And we're working with them to encourage them to extend their stay and disperse into regional Western Australia. The niche market, they might not be high volume, but they're prolific travellers and they spend. And they're the people that are seeking out food and wine, nature, wildlife, coastal experiences. And we're working in a number of those areas. And then self-drive. The Brits, we're not as brave as the Germans, I'm afraid, but we do have a sector that are very comfortable in self-driving, whether it be cars or camper vans, and taking touring options. So we're also working with that market. That's our target audience. So I'll now hand to Christy, who's going to talk about some of the priorities and the activity we're doing.
Hello everyone, it's Christy Lord here. As Sandra said, I'm going to walk through the current marketing plans we have in the UK. Some are actually being activated right at the moment, others are still in the planning phase. So you're really listening to what's happening right now. Firstly though, I'll go through a number of priorities for the UK market that the activity plans that follow will capitalise on. Aviation development, as Sandra said, is key from the UK. Etihad Airways have introduced new flights from London into Perth in July this year. 2 years ago, Qatar Airways came on board, and since their London flight that they launched 2 years ago, they've also launched a Scotland flight from Edinburgh, which connects through to Perth. Not only is the international development quite key, but also key are the aviation links with domestic networks. So the likes of Etihad Airways and Singapore Airlines, they have links with Virgin, and they have a pass in the UK called the Virgin Sky Pass. Qantas have their Qantas Walkabout Pass. And what that means is that international travellers, if they buy domestic tickets before they set off to their holiday in WA, can access these domestic flights at a much reduced cost. For example, you could get from Perth to Broome and return for about £100, which is fantastic news for our customer. Next is currently we're aligning the WA food and wine offering with Tourism Australia's launch of Restaurant Australia. I mean, our food and wine offering, or what we call Gourmet WA, is a campaign that we've been working on for a number of years, but right now there is a lot of noise about Restaurant Australia, so we are highlighting what we can offer for the people who are passionate about food and wine. Working with partners has for some time and still is most key for us. We want to make our, the taxpayers' dollars go a lot further, so for every dollar that we spend in the UK, we look to partner with someone who will match that funding. Our main partners being people like Tourism Australia, other states and territories, and airlines, and our cooperative partners like tour operators like Trailfinders or Austravel. More often than not, we do work with a tour operator, but we carefully choose the right distribution partner, and those are companies who can create value-added propositions and provide a strong call to action. We'll continue efforts to encourage more holiday and VFR travellers because they are the people who will disperse into regional Western Australia. We have no problem getting visitors to Perth, but we want people to experience this extraordinary state, so we need them to disperse further. And we use consumer PR very heavily because that allows us to create compelling reasons to visit Western Australia. We have some great stories to tell and some fantastic hooks, and that allows us to get to kind of cut through all the noise in this marketplace and get noticed. So moving on to our activity plans, I'll start with what are our biggest projects, which are our airline partnerships, and we call these CMAs, which are commercial marketing agreements, which are either organised globally, and we work on them locally. So the first one is Qantas. Below are examples from last year. We are in the second year of our Qantas plans. Year 2 will have a heavier focus on branded content, which is essentially paid for editorial. What this does is it helps us have enough space for us to tell the Western Australia story, which perhaps tactical campaigns like our digital advertising doesn't allow us to do, or any campaigns that are price-led don't allow us to tell enough about Western Australia. This year our media partners are companies like Lonely Planet, or media outlets like Lonely Planet, Waitrose and John Lewis, and Wild Travel magazine. We also this year, like last year, will do a co-op campaign. Last year we did a separate campaign with Trailfinders. This year we want to integrate the co-op campaign more into the other activities that we're doing, so further kind of reach our holiday makers. And we're right in the midst of talking with Trailfinders to come through again, and I'm hoping to hear from them today as to if they're on board, and they'll be the call to action throughout all our print or branded content marketing, and Qantas.com will be the call to action for our digital advertising that we have planned. Next is our second airline partnership, and this is with Etihad Airways and also Tourism Australia. The creative that is on the page at the moment is some work that we did for launch back in May, which was very successful. So successful, in fact, that even though I have that this campaign will take place in September and October this year, which is actually this month and next month, Tourism Australia and Etihad with ourselves has decided that we'll move this campaign to January 2015. It's going to be a better time to be out in the marketplace, as there is little capacity for the route at the moment, so we don't want to spend funds where we can't actually get people onto the planes. January is actually a more lucrative booking period in the UK, and also Tourism Australia and Etihad have their own substantial TV campaign in January, so it's a great time for Western Australia to piggyback on the back of that with this digital campaign and also some more print activity, which I'm just going to show you on the next page. Again, this print activity that you can see, this is an example from last year, but it allows us to tell the story that we need to. So the one on the left is about the rebirth of Perth and how it's developing, and we're positioning it as a much more cool destination for people to visit. And the print creative on the left is more about the extraordinary experiences you get in Australia. So next I'd like to talk about our cooperative marketing campaigns that aren't related to any of our airline partnerships. And this year, on top of our Trailfinders campaign, we will have another 5 or 6 co-op campaigns planned. Firstly, we'll talk about Flight Centre. We went live on Monday with a campaign in association with Tourism Australia. This campaign had 2 strands to it, really, or it does because it's live at the moment. Firstly, the first strand is about Gourmet WA, and it's taking advantage of the noise that's being created around Restaurant Australia, which is being launched in the UK this month by Tourism Australia. The example advert on the right-hand side of the page is a page that ourselves and Flight Centre took in one of Tourism Australia's 32-page supplements that they have with the Mail on Sunday, which is one of the biggest national newspapers here in the UK. Secondly, another strand is the wider reaching Experience Extraordinary message that we're promoting, and this will be promoted through things like window boards, retail window boards in the huge amount of Flight Centre stores that there are in the UK, and through the Flight Centre database with e-direct marketing and also digital advertising. So the second campaign that we're just in the throes of organising is with Expedia and Qatar Airways. This is a really interesting one in that we had a commercial marketing agreement with Qatar Airways for the last 2 years since their launch into Perth. This has now come to an end, but Qatar Airways locally would like to work with Tourism Western Australia locally still. It's an area where we can work together. And the timing for this activity is likely to be, although it says on there January to March, it's likely to be February next year. And the Expedia campaign is interesting because it's individual hotels or tours and experiences. It's not really packaged up like you would expect with work that we do with Trailfinders. It means that Expedia can come out to all their hotel partners like yourselves or experiences like yourselves and look for deals that could be promoted at that time. So what we'll do as Tourism Western Australia is provide a platform of promotion of the state of Western Australia, and hopefully you guys can come on board and put deals into the marketplace. If you are contracted with Expedia already, Expedia will come out to you and ask if there are any deals in place, and also we will promote it through Talking Tourism when we know a bit more information and tell you when it's going live and what you can do to help. A third activity plan is Scenic Tours. We've worked with those the last year as well. They're a group touring company in the UK who have introduced Western Australia into their portfolio, and also we'll be looking to work with Austravel, but to be honest, myself and Karen Joyce, who leads Austravel, haven't set any time aside to plan when this will be. And lastly, caravan and camping. This is from our caravan and camping funding, and our strategy here is to look for opportunities of product development and then look for opportunities to then market that product that we've developed. We've identified 2 companies, the Caravan Club and the Caravan and Camping Club. Both have member numbers into the millions here in the UK. There's currently no WA product or tours, and we want to introduce that. We have had some success in June and July this year, where we've introduced group touring through a company called Off the Beat to the Caravan Club, and then the Camping and Caravanning Club would like to introduce FIT camping and caravanning through motorhoming to their database. Just moving forward, I'll show you an example of what we did with Scenic Tours and their print creative last year that was part funded by Tourism Australia and Tourism Western Australia. And then next I'll show you an example of the work we've done to date with the caravan and camping strategy. So on the right there's a tour that's departing in March next year, and on the left is the destinational information that we're promoting with Western Australia. This is the first part of our caravan and camping work, and we look to continue that through this year. I'll briefly talk about Gourmet WA because, in all honesty, the activity that we're doing in September right now is probably the final part of the activity, but we have done work this year, or this financial year, with Heston Blumenthal around a media event in July, and that was to promote the launch of the chef's names for the next Margaret River Gourmet Escape, which is one of the key events that we market here in the UK. We are working with Tourism Australia around the launch of Restaurant Australia, and that will happen in the form of a pop-up restaurant at the end of this month, where Western Australia will have one evening, and the image below is like the backdrop of the event that will take place in September. We have also, at the same time, to ride on the back of all this noise about Gourmet WA, we have an awareness campaign happening presently, and we're also promoting a series called Recipes That Rock. You may have seen that on TV in Australia. It's also on TV here in the UK. It's fronted by Matt Stone from Greenhouse and Alex James, who's a UK cheesemaker who was the bassist in the very successful band Blur. And for me, if we can get people to watch this series, we've done our job, because the actual destination, the way the destination is shown in the series is fantastic. And just quickly, here's some examples of the media out, the media that we got out of the Heston Blumenthal event. So the rest of our activity plans, trade education is very key for us. We have a FAMIL on the back of the roadshow we had in June, and that's going to Perth and Australia's Northwest in October, and there are 10 people already signed up to that FAMIL. They were the winners from the actual roadshow. We have Destination Australia Partnership Training. This is training in collaboration with TA and all our states and territories, and that's called Oz on Tour in December. In addition to that, we have ad hoc training throughout the year. And then we have Corroboree Europe, which I know was mentioned by Germany earlier, and that's happening in Adelaide. On the back of that, we have 2 FAMILs, one to the Australia's Golden Outback and one to Australia's Coral Coast. PR is very big for us. Our visiting journalist program has approximately 22 trips over the year, and we spread the media around the state, focusing on key themes like outback, marine and wildlife experiences. We've got trips lined up already with Lonely Planet, Daily Telegraph, Mail on Sunday. And last year, to give you some context, we had 77 features published from our VJP program, which had a total equivalent advertising value of $1.7 million and reached over 20 million people in the UK. Interesting is our broadcast opportunities, and we've got one major one this year, which is a 3-part series led by Tourism Australia on Channel 4, and that's fronted by Jimmy Doherty, who's a British celebrity farmer and a friend with Jamie Oliver. He's only going to Western Australia, the Northern Territory and South Australia, but we'll include segments of Australia's Northwest and Australia's Southwest in this, and that will air on Channel 4 in March next year. We send out regular releases, pitches, and respond to media inquiries all through the year. The youth activity I cannot tell you anything about at the moment because the project is to be confirmed, but we have some funding set aside for that. And then as far as industry engagement happens, this is great that we have the CEO Stephanie Buckland and Kelsey Johnson visiting us here in the UK in September, but myself or Sandra will be in market in Australia, ATE in Melbourne, and also there is an opportunity, we're hoping that there will be another TWA International Managers meeting in April next year. So I've gone through what are our plans, and the market opportunities, just to finalise, are probably best one at the moment is the Expedia sale that we're doing, the camping and caravanning development. The roadshow for Mill in October is pretty much all in place, but Corroboree Europe, we're doing the 2 for Mill to the AGO and mainly to the AGO and Australia's Coral Coast. And then, yes, we hope to meet you in April and again in June. And I'd like to ask if there are any questions of myself or Sandra.
Thanks, Christy and Sandra. Yep, I've got a question here. Can you tell me what tour operators are currently selling luxury travel to Western Australia and who we should be targeting?
Well, interestingly, there are a number of luxury operators that are selling Western Australia, and more actually have come on board since we've come out of recession. Companies that have been selling for a while are Scott Dunn, Bridge & Wickers, and Cox & Kings. They've got established programs already, but newer companies that are coming on board, actually, and we've had meetings in the last month. Interested in looking at these companies in more detail. You could speak perhaps.
Okay, got another one. Who would you suggest the best wholesalers would be to partner with to promote self-drive in WA?
Okay. Self-drive in WA, we're a lot more softer on the self-drive than the German market, but probably the key people are, I would say, Austravel. They have a great self-drive program, and they're obviously all about Australia. But next to that, I think also your wholesalers of Travel 2 and Gold Medal are also great at promoting self-drive. And then, you know, the biggest operator in the UK is Trailfinders.
All right, we've got another one. What level of interest does the UK market have in wildflowers in WA?
We have a theme of what we call nature, and we talk about wildflowers a lot. Ellen does quite a lot of PR on wildflowers. There are very few programs that have actual wildflower tours being sold in the UK, but we do know from the stats on westernaustralia.com for the UK site specifically that people do Google us and look for information on wildflowers. So it is something that we do talk about. However, there are very few tours that are packaged in the UK specifically for wildflowers.
Okay. Message from Kylie, who's been waiting a while. She said this quite a while ago, so I hope you're still online, Kylie. What is the preferred carrier out of the UK market into Perth?
Airline carrier?
Yes.
Well, preferred for us are probably the ones we have our commercial marketing agreements are, which are the Qantas and Emirates partnership, and also Etihad. And the reason why I say that is because we are spending considerable amounts of our budget with these partners. So Western Australia is important to them because they've put as equal amounts of budget against promoting Western Australia. After that, probably the main partner is Singapore Airlines and Qatar Airways as well.
Okay, there's one more, Christy. How do we enter the UK market and get brochure there, please?
Okay. The UK market's a very established market, but the first thing I have to say is that most of the operators here who sell Western Australia are contracted through use an inbound tour operator, and they're contracted mainly through ATS Pacific and AOT, which happen to be the same company now. So it's really important to be internationally ready and have your commission levels organised with those ITOs. In addition to that, every other year there is a European product workshop in the UK for which new products entering the market can attend. It's amazing. It's like a mini ATE, but all of the UK product managers meet all of the new product. So it's a brilliant way to meet the right people. Sandra's got a point that she wants to make as well.
Just on the inbound operators, most of the UK tour operators are booking through an inbound operator. And I think after the merger of AOT and ATS, a number of them have decided that there may be more opportunities for them here. So, for example, Pan Pacific have now got representation in the UK, and Val May, who worked with AOT and obviously ATS in the UK now, she's just changed jobs, and she's now going to be representing Southern World in the UK. So there may be a bit of diversification with the inbound tour operators, and it's probably worth making sure that you're featured with a range of, obviously, AOT and ATS, but perhaps some of the smaller ones as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Sandra. Are there any other questions, Beppy?
There's no more questions. Thank you so much. That was an awesome presentation, Sandra and Christy.
Thank you from the UK.
Okay, and to all of our attendees, thank you so much. That was a bit of a marathon, we're going to send out probably a survey at the end of the entire webinar series. At the end of the entire series, we'll also be providing you with access to the recordings of these webinars. If you have any feedback or any comments that you'd like, please by all means send them through to Lisa Rodriguez or myself. Feedback's much appreciated. And just reminding you, we've got a new look, a whole new website, so it's really beautiful. Please have a look at that and register with us for the future webinars this month. Thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see you on the 9th of September.